Proverbs is the one that I think often is misunderstood because people think that if you read a proverb in there, then it's a promise. This is Fixed on Jesus. Welcome to Fixed on Jesus. This is the podcast that talks about all manner of things and connects back to Jesus Christ. My name is Rich. I'm your host. Along with me, we have Mark Johnson Jr.
Hello.
And behind the glass, we have the ever-capable Heather Corbitt, who is ensuring that we actually sound better than we really do.
That, and we stay on topic and don't make too many noises and sing. Oh, wait, that's just for me.
That's you.
Okay.
I don't make noises or sing. That's you, Mark.
You just spit truth.
I don't know about that. That's one way to say it, I suppose.
Spit and fire on the mic.
All right, yeah.
Speaking of music, though.
Yes.
Do you like country music?
I do not.
That's a shame. So
that's just, it's fine. There's some, whatever. I like, I've heard country. It's not like I don't have anybody on my playlist that is categorized as a country music. Is Johnny Cash country? He's not country.
I don't even know who that is.
You don't know who Johnny Cash is?
I'm kidding. I know who it is.
Is that country, Heather? It's country? Then yes, I like Johnny Cash. If that's country, that's got to be old country though, right? Okay.
Yeah. Definitely old.
Yeah, I listened to Folsom Prison this week. That's a good one. I like that kind of thing. But I'm not gonna and I've heard Garth Brooks. He has friends in low places. I've heard.
I got friends in low places.
Yeah, he does too.
I'm your friend.
And he's got
in
a song.
Place.
Exactly. He's got a song. I won't sing it. But anyway, why are you asking about country music?
Mainly because in September there was a new country artist. He got famous basically overnight, and his name's Oliver Anthony.
Okay. And he's the dude with the killer red beard, right?
Yeah. He's 6'7".
What?
From Virginia.
With that killer red beard.
Huge red beard, yeah.
Wow.
So he went viral.
Does he run moonshine?
Maybe his ancestors.
He looks like it.
He looks like
Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, there's
Goes
definitely
viral.
some of that in his genetic history. So he got really famous, and he started to go on some different podcasts. One of the most famous podcasts in the world is the Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah.
And during that time, he took, and this ties into our topic, he took the time to read from the Bible, which is the first time anyone's ever done that.
On Joe Rogan?
On Joe Rogan. So
okay.
The most,
And he let him do it.
He let him do it. Yeah, he's pretty open to it. And he kind of sold it to him. He was like, hey, it's just wisdom. I'm just going to give you some wisdom. And he even said, I'm going to read from Proverbs 4:20 and through 27. And he's like, I think you'll like that, Joe Rogan.
And that's a weed reference, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I wouldn't exactly know, but that seems like what was going on.
Yeah,
so.
you guys saved later. They didn't have weed on the flannel graphs. I'll just say that. Anyway, what did he read?
So I'm going to read it because, in this episode, we're going to talk about how to read the Proverbs. But so from Proverbs 4:20 through 27. My son, be attentive to my words. Incline your ear to my sayings. Let them not escape from your sight. Keep them within your heart, for they are life to those who find them, and healing to all their flesh. Keep your heart with all vigilance, for from it flows the springs of life. Put away from you crooked speech, and put devious talk far from you. Let your eyes look directly forward, and your gaze be straight before you. Ponder the path of your feet, then all your ways will be sure. Do not swerve to the right or to the left. Turn your foot away from evil. So he might have read a different version. I think he might have read the King James version. But either way, I was just happy to hear.
If he's from the backwoods, he read from the King James.
Yeah, so I was just happy to hear him read it. And Joe Rogan was like, he wasn't against it. He was like, oh yeah, that sounds good.
That's cool.
So back to our question. How does one read the Proverbs?
That's a good question. Yeah. So the Proverbs are, people can read them, and they're really, it's convenient because there's 31 and you can read one a day. in a month, and you can get through it pretty quickly. But Proverbs should be read as general principles and not ironclad promises. So the Proverbs describes the way life normally goes. The Proverbs are not giving us promises that are something that can that are always true. For example, Proverbs 14:23 says, "All hard work brings a profit." Not always, right? It's not a promise.
It's general, though.
It's a general idea.
Yeah.
It's a general idea you can apply, right? Another one is train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it. Now, it's a general principle. It's not a promise that if you train up your child, that for sure he or she will become a Christian. And so it is, and then also there's a couple of them where you have to recognize that you have to apply wisdom to know when to apply the Proverbs. So, for example, Proverbs 26:4 says, "Do not answer a fool according to his folly, or you will be like him yourself." And then Proverbs 26:5 says, "Answer a fool according to his folly, or he will be wise in his own eyes."
Antithetical.
Right. And so what it is like, okay, which one do I do? It depends on the situation. So it depends on the situation. What we have here in Proverbs is a guideline of general principles that, in general, if you work hard, you'll earn money. In general, if you fear the Lord, you'll that's the beginning of wisdom. In general, your life will go better if you do these things.
Yeah. Be discerning when you speak to fools.
Yeah, right. Be discerning whether or not you should answer or not. And
Yeah.
it depends on the situation, right? And so it's what we must not do, though, is pick Proverbs and say, this is an ironclad promise. This is description of the way things go in God's world in general. And so that's important. Like for example, when you think about there's the writings, you have the Proverbs, you have Ecclesiastes, you have Job, you have Song of Solomon, right? And they all address different parts of life. In Job, it's what happens when life goes sideways, when things don't go as planned. When Ecclesiastes, you have a description of what really matters at the end of someone's life.
Vanity.
And it's kind of dark, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And then Song of Solomon is a description of
not dark
love. It's love, human love, right? And so you've got between a man and a woman. And so you have those different writings address different things. And the Psalms are songs where you can express your heart to the Lord. And so Proverbs have their place, but I think we just have to be discerning as we read them. There's a lot of imagery that's used in Proverbs as we think about even a description, I think in Proverbs 8, where the Lord talks about creating, or we have wisdom personified, and the Lord wisdom itself speaks on behalf of itself in a really interesting passage. Let me get there and I'll read it to you real quick. Proverbs 8 says, "The Lord possessed me at the beginning of his work, the first of his acts of old. Ages ago I was set up at the first, before the beginning of the earth. When there was no depths, I was brought forth. When there were no springs abounding with water, before the mountains had been shaped, before the hills I was brought forth. Before he had made the earth with its fields and the first dust of the world, when he established the heavens, I was there. When he drew a circle on the face of the deep, when he made firm the skies above, when he established the fountains of the deep, when he assigned to the sea its limit, and so that the waters might not transgress his command, when he marked out the foundations of the earth, then I was beside him like a master workman. I was daily his delight, rejoicing before him always, rejoicing in his inhabited world, and delighting in the children of man." That is that is a description of wisdom.
Where's that from?
Proverbs 8:22.
It sounds similar to Job.
To 31, right? Exactly. But it's wisdom speaking. So wisdom is personified there and speaks and says, "I was with the Lord from the beginning," which makes sense because you would think the Lord created all things with wisdom, right? And so you've got that kind of imagery in there. At the beginning of Proverbs, you also have a father talking to his son about wise living. You want to stay away from the women who are, adulteresses and say, my
Wayward.
husband's gone. Yeah, the wayward wife, woman. And that goes for the other way too. You want to, like young ladies, you want to stay away from the cad men. And, all of it goes back and forth. And so Proverbs is a great book to take wisdom just for normal everyday life, right? A kind answer turns away wrath. You know what? That's generally true. Yeah. But sometimes you're talking to somebody who's completely unreasonable, and it doesn't matter what you say, you're still going to incur their wrath. It's not a promise. It doesn't work that way. So, and generally the Proverbs are, you read them and they're sort of disconnected. You read them like that.
Yeah, they're like each verse is like something completely different.
Right, exactly. And so that's one of the differences with the one I just read about wisdom in Proverbs 8. And so anyway, read the Proverbs, but don't think they're promises, just general guidelines for life.
Does that go for the other ones as well, like Job, Ecclesiastes, and Song of Solomon?
Yeah, but they're arranged in a different way.
Okay.
And so Job, there's a whole swaths of Job that you just, you have to read Job in big sections because a lot of what his friends are saying is just wrong. All of it, generally. And so basically what you read about in Job is that the Lord is in control.
Yeah.
Right? And he does things that we're not able to understand.
Yeah. Where were you when I laid the foundation?
Exactly. Where were you at the end? You get to all that stuff. Ecclesiastes is different because in Job, you have the perspective of God speaking down into mankind who's suffering. Ecclesiastes, you don't have God. We don't have God speaking into the situation. We have a man looking at his life and go, man, everything under the sun. I mean, there's nothing new and everything's vanity because it all goes away. But at the same time, he's going to say, listen, enjoy good food, enjoy being married, enjoy your family, enjoy good company, enjoy those things. Yeah. Don't live for those things, but enjoy them and have fun. And then Song of Songs is a celebration of a love between a man and a woman. And so the topics are different.
Yeah.
But they're all poetical. They just have a different aim. Proverbs is the one that I think often is misunderstood because people think that if you read a proverb in there, then it's a promise.
Yeah, it's just addressing different things that might come up.
Yeah, it's just giving wisdom for life.
Got it.
They're principles, not promises.
All right. Yeah, I think that's all we got for Proverbs. If you have any questions about the Proverbs or about anything else, topic suggestions, there's also show notes listed below if you're interested in anything else specific. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please share this with a friend. And if you have any questions or anything, email us at production@centergilbert.com.
Until next time, see you later.
See ya.